Hey guys, Aaron here, back with another video. Today I'm just going to do a quick unboxing video for you and show you this really cool video card. This is one that I've kind of in a way secretly been after for a while. These are they're not what I'd call super rare, but they're not very common, and they're not very common for a low price either. So this is just going to be a very quick video. I'm not going to be able to unfortunately test this card today because my AGP test system is currently in pieces, doing some upgrades on it. So currently my main test system at the moment is my FX60 SLI build that I've got, 939 build. So can't test this today, but I know that I think this is working. The seller assured me that it's working, so and I believe the listing may have actually had screenshots of it working in Windows XP anyway. So anyway, good bubble wrapping. I do like that he has used some pretty good bubble wrapping, and I believe that it looks like there's some other foam or something on the inside as well. But this has come all the way from the UK. It's really interesting when you have conversations with sellers. They don't realise that when you're like in Australia and you use like a freight forwarder, for example, for getting stuff international, when they obviously ship the item, they ship it to a local address in their own country, and then it obviously ends up going overseas. So they don't know what the final address is, unless you actually give it to them manually in messaging or something like that. So it's quite interesting sometimes. I've had conversations in the past with sellers. I believe it was my TI 4600 that I got. The seller was like, "Wait, what? You're in Australia?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, that's so cool. It went all the way to Australia." And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome." Which is kind of cool. But anyway, ooh, special. It actually has the little auction thingy on it. Just kind of neat. I always get so nervous with the capacitors of these cards because they break they're so fragile in the post. But anyway, let's open this up and see how it is. So this is a card that belongs to a family of cards that I have a very love-hate relationship with in a way. So you might be able to tell this looks like a ATI 9800 Pro, and you would be correct in guessing that it is a Radeon 9800 Pro. But unlike a normal 9800 Pro, this one has more memory chips and a slightly longer PCB. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 memory chips for a total of 256 meg of RAM. So a lot of people who weren't into PC gaming and PC hardware around this generation of hardware, a lot of them know about the Radeon 9800 Pro, like your standard 9800 Pro that has this RAM configuration, the L shape with just the 4 on each side. This is a standard 9800 Pro that I have this little Arctic cooler on, which is quite nice. But and they know that was the flagship of that sort of generation. But some of them, they don't realize actually there was a 256 meg version of the 9800 Pro that was launched, but it was launched in such a small window before the next tier card came out that it was quite expensive. It was not very well publicized in a way, and unless you were you were heavily into the actual tech industry and geeking out about video cards back in the day, you might not have even known that this card actually existed. So this, as you can see, is a Sapphire Edition card. A little bit dusty, but fan seems to be quite smooth. It doesn't have these particular ATI fans can sometimes have that ball bearing issue where they will get a little bit rattly and they'll actually make quite a bit of a whiny noise when they're running. But this one seems to be pretty smooth, other than just a little bit of dust. So I'll be able to clean this out at some point. I'm not going to be able to do it at the moment. Now, the one thing I have noticed is that this little cooler here has this aluminium plate on the top of it, but all the screws to undo it are underneath the sticker here. and I do not want to take this sticker off at all. I don't even want to really damage it. It's got some, you know, usual wear and tear, scratches and scuffs and things like that, but I don't want to damage this at all by like lifting the corners up to unscrew it or anything at all. So I might just have to kind of use a bit of compressed air and blow this out a bit, I think. So typically what I would always do is take the cooler off, I disassemble the cooler, clean it out, re-oil the fan, take the fan off the fan out of the fan hub, make sure the bearing, there's no burnt out, like the motor's not burnt out or anything like that, and give it a good you know, clean, because I want to keep all the cards in my collection in as mint condition as I can, for as long as I can. But yeah, this is the nice 256 meg 9800 Pro. Obviously this was superseded by the 9800 XT, which is a 256 meg card. I have a really nice mint condition version here. This is, I believe, a reference model from like an OEM. I don't think this is not like a Sapphire or Hercules or anything like that. This is a very nice, very well preserved reference model card. It does have a couple of very minor blemishes on the surface of the cooler here, just a couple of little scratches, but to be honest, a card of this age, the fact that it's survived in this good condition. One thing that was very common for the copper, especially when you use these cards, if the cards were used in a smoker's home or in a house where the card just wasn't cleaned out, the copper would actually tarnish. Especially on the back. If you handled the card a lot, you'd always end up with tarnished fingerprints right where your hand was always touching it, and the copper would always end up, I believe this is actually like copper coated aluminium, this part here, but I know the underneath here is actually a bit more copper. So I'm glad I finally got the sisterhood of, I do obviously have a 9800 Pro, but it's my 9800 Pro is on the shelf at the moment. I'll grab the 9800 Pro. Sorry, the 9700 Pro as well. So yeah, we have the three 9000 generation flagship cards: 97, 98, 128, 98, 256, and 9800 XT. Finally got the full collection of the four of them. Yeah, I do also have a 9500 Pro. I also have a 9600 XT, the nice orange one with Asus. I also have the Radeon 9000, the PCI card. So I also have this one here, which is it's a 3D Prophet, a Hercules 3D Prophet 9000 PCI card, and the PCB layout is based off of the Alpha server PCBs that was used in workstations and stuff, where you needed a specific video card configuration for virtual machines and things like that, and they took the design of the bigger PCB for these cards rather than the smaller ones, and they use specific RAM chips on here, and it's quite a nice card. I've played with this one a little bit, and this handles like Counter-Strike like 1.6 and things like that quite nicely, actually, at like 1024 by 768. But then I do have the 9600 XT, the nice Asus one as well. A little bit of dust on the fan because I did run this a little bit to do a bit of benching a little while ago, and it's kind of collecting a little bit of dust at the moment, but really nice card. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and that's the full collection of my Radeon. Well, not full, I've got a couple others, but they're not as important as these ones, I guess you can say. Not as iconic anyway. So yeah, glad to finally have the 256 meg 9800 Pro. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.